So Portugal make it through to the Nations League final, beating Germany 2-1. And to be honest with you, I did say Portugal would win the game. I think I went for 1-0. I think the starting lineups, I was shocked, because I think for Germany, I said big up reluctant gamer, big up bro. The Germany lineup, I said ter Stegen would start off in goal. Then the back three, I said it would have been. No, sorry, I said back four, didn't I? I said Jonathan Tah and who was the other player? I can't remember who the other defender was. I think I got big up to Barbara Joseph as well. But I'm trying to think of the defense that they had. Who else was there? Yeah, Kimmich, I said right back. Left back, I thought it would have been David Realm, Midfield, I went with Pascal Gross and Goretzka. Goretzka played, Gross was on the bench. Pavlovic started. And then then I think I went Florian Wirtz in the 10 with Leroy Sané, Adeyemi and Füllkrug as a striker. And to be fair, that was completely a different team. And I was shocked, to be honest with you, because I think, the lineup he played was, I think wasn't to be expected, in my opinion, and I think in the first 10 minutes, I think Germany were dominant, The first half for me was definitely theirs. Big up to DXR as well. But I think the lack of firepower in the end for Germany, I think was what done it for them in the end. Because I think the fact that they were missing Rudiger at the back there, and Rudiger was a massive miss with his experience, his pace and strength. I think Jonathan Tah was awful all night, And I look at the likes of, I'm not sure if Gundogan is retired from international football. I'm not too sure. Then you had no Kai Havertz, no Jamal Musiala. Again, Musiala was a massive miss. Big up to Remy. Is it Remy Gautier? Yeah, bonjour, Remy. Bonjour. French brother in the house. Big up. Big up to Daniela Iacona as well. Big up to Maribel Tenorio. So, yeah, as I said, guys, I think Germany's lineup was surprising for me. And if I'm honest with you, I think in that second half, you can tell that that they were up against it. I think the fact that they were missing, probably 3 starters, Musiala, Rudiger, and Kai Havertz. I think that's what done it for them in the end, because you can kind of see that they were hanging on. And even Portugal. I mean, Portugal played João Neves at right back. Even though Semedo and Dalot were both there, two recognised right backs didn't play. The defence, Nuno Mendes. I mean, Nuno Mendes, what a player, man. What a player. As I said, Nuno Mendes is the best left back in the world, and guys, I will get back to your comments after. So yeah, Nuno Mendes setting up Ronaldo for the winner, and what a run it was. And Nuno Mendes' pace is something else, man. He's rapid, Nuno Mendes. What a player. And at the back, Inacio and Ruben Diaz, one former Benfica defender and one current Sporting Lisbon defender. Again, I thought Antonio Silva might have started, but I did say with the left foot of Inacio, obviously for the balance, it probably made more sense. Midfield, I was surprised there was no Vitinha, and you can see what a quality player Vitinha is. He just come onto that pitch and, him and Francisco Conceição changed the game for Portugal. Conceição's goal was a moment of genius, really, And when he came on the pitch, I think he came on for... Who did he come on for? He come on for Trincão, who I was surprised that started. So yeah, Trincão and Neto in the wide areas. Again, I didn't expect either one of them to start. I thought Leao was going to play from the left. I thought Bernardo Silva, as I said, we knew that Bernardo Silva would play, but I thought he'd be on the right. And then Bruno, Ronaldo up top. And again, with Ronaldo, Ronaldo for me is very much a passenger for this Portugal team. And the only way he's going to have an impact for this team is if he gets on the end of a chance that Nuno Mendes made for him. And, if that's what he's in the team for, then I think Roberto Martinez will keep playing him. But I will go along and say, although they beat Germany, and to be fair, I expected them to beat Germany. Germany didn't have too much firepower. And when you're missing the players like a Rudiger, a Musiala, you're going to be up against it, And Florian Wirtz was pretty quiet, got his goal, great header. But he was pretty quiet. But I think they were missing Rudiger at the back there, for his presence. But what I would say from watching this game, I think if they meet a Spain or a France, I reckon Spain or France beat them. I think they overpower Portugal, because I think Germany were causing problems for Portugal, and this was a German team that, as I said, were missing some key players and missed chances as well. So I think if Spain or France both play Portugal, I'll go as far as saying that I don't know if Portugal beat them from what I see today. But Portugal have got a lot of talent in that squad, man. The fact that they can bring on the likes of Conceição, Vitinha, changing the game, just shows you the amount of quality that team have. And as I said, yeah, I think in the end, they probably deserved it in the end because they were pushing Germany back. Germany didn't really have an outball. I think when they took off, is it that Waldemar, I think his name was, because he was playing more as a target man, and then Füllkrug came on. Füllkrug's not going to threaten him behind. He's just going to do a similar job to what that Waldemar was doing, and I think even with Leroy Sané, I think Sané might have come off as well, if I remember. Adeyemi, for me, should have started the game, and the fact that Adeyemi, probably came on, had their best chance, just shows me really why he should have started the game. And again, I think they should have played him and Sané in the wide areas and play Wirtz in the 10 and then have a striker. And I think that balance there would have been a lot better. But Nagelsmann played, Wirtz more or less, left of a 3 or a false 9. And to be honest with you, I think that was their undoing in the end. So, yeah, Portugal go through to the final. And as I said, I did predict that they would win 1-0, 2-1, They definitely deserved it in the end. And the subs that Martinez made in Conceição and Vitinha is what changed the game for them. Nuno Mendes, what a player he is. As I said, I think Ronaldo was pretty quiet. Bruno was pretty quiet as well. They got more into the game when Portugal, were on top. I think Neves, obviously, again, I was surprised to see starting. Bernardo Silva wasn't really in the game either. But I think definitely now, they will fancy their chances in the final. But for me, I can't see them beating a Spain or a France. And I think those two teams there for me will be one of the favourites. But yeah, as I said, man, good result in the end for them, and they go through to the final. So guys, just gonna go on to some of the comments. Big up yourselves, big up all the mods for coming through. So Gamer's happy for Portugal. Same with DXR. DXR and Gamer, what do you think? Do you think that Portugal can win the final? Or do you think Spain or France will be too much for them? Obviously, that game's on tomorrow. And for me, that game between Spain and France, for me, should be the final. So, yeah. So, DXR says, tomorrow's game, who's going through? Do you know what? It's going to be a tough one. I think, if I'm honest, I think the favourites will be Spain, I think, because I'm looking at France's defence, and if they play what they're gonna play in terms of Longley and Pavard, I don't think Longley and Pavard are, you know, I think obviously it's not their strongest defense, and I think that might be their undoing. You know, obviously Spain are missing a few players as well. But for me, tomorrow's game is Lamine Yamal versus Ousmane Dembele, because I think the winner of that game is going to have one hand on the Ballon d'Or for me, you know. And as I said, I think Dembele at the moment is probably in the lead, but I think if Yamal manages to get Spain to the final and win it, I think Yamal could win the Ballon d'Or, you know. But it's going to be a good game tomorrow, 100%. So I'm gonna say at the moment just Spain, you know. But France are capable of winning this game. I think for me tomorrow, I want to see what team Deschamps plays, because if he plays a positive attacking team, then I might change my mind. But if he plays the team that I think he's gonna play, then yeah, as I said, man, I think Spain will definitely be the favourites, you know. And I said with the likes of Yamal and Pedri there, you know, you can't bet against Spain, man. So DXR says France is just looking overpowered. Yeah, as I said, France are missing Camavinga, Saliba, Upamecano. I think there's someone else that's missing. Obviously, I think Griezmann's retired. You know, obviously you're thinking there's no Pogba, no Martial. You know, two players that France could do with in their team, 100%. No Jules Koundé as well. So yeah, man. But they've got Ryan Cherky, you know, now in the squad, and they've got Elise, you know. These guys obviously the future of the France national team, you know. So we'll have to wait and see what Deschamps does. But I think the predicted team that I think that's what he's going to do with Rabiot, Guendouzi, and Tchouameni in that midfield. And then I think the front three will be Mbappe, Dembele, and Marcus Thuram through the middle. I think that's what he's going to do. So game, I reckon Spain will win. Yeah, I think Spain are the favourites for me. I would say definitely the favourites. Big up to Mark Sajatovic says, after 25 years, Portugal did it, this team. Yeah, listen, I think Portugal still have to get over the line and win the Nations League because, you know, if you look at the amount of talent that Portugal have in their squad, for me, they should be doing a lot better than they have done. But I think, as I said, if they meet a Spain or meet a France, I'm not too sure how they'll get on, if I'm honest with you. I think those teams there have much more quality than what Germany offer today. And again, Germany in the first half were good. Second half, they were shocking, you know, and Portugal just kept pressuring them. They were giving the ball away. And as I said, I think if the likes of Musiala, if Adeyemi started the game, you know, Rudiger was there, I think it would have been a different second half or a different game altogether, you know. Guys, come on, there's 9 of you in there. 5 likes. Let's try and hit 10 likes at least. You know, just one press of the button. If you're enjoying the content, just make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel at GavGoesIn as well. And guys, give me your questions. Let me know what you think of today's game. Do you think that, you know, Portugal were lucky to win? Or do you think that this German team wasn't good enough? Because if I'm honest with you, I think this German team, as I said before the game, looking at that squad, you know, there was a few players in there I didn't really recognise. But I said, immediately, with the likes of the ones that are missing, you know, I don't see how Germany go all the way. And to be honest with you, Portugal got their full squad. And in the end, definitely the subs, you know, great goal from Conceição. Great play from Mendes for Ronaldo's tapping. Thoroughly deserved it, man. So, yeah. I think France purely because of their attackers. But again, if you look at France's attackers, I mean, I want Cherky to start, but I don't think he starts. Elise again, you know, these guys should be starting for me, but I don't think Deschamps is going to play them from the start. Mbappe, Dembele, they're definitely going to start the game. And yeah, and with Thuram, so they've got quality in their attack, but whether you know they can gel together and give this Spain team a problem, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be a great game and a game not to be missed, man, for me. Yeah, exactly. That should be the final, France versus Spain, 100%. Uh, so Mark Sajatovic says, "Hey man, angry that Thomas Muller didn't play because he plans to retire." Yeah, yeah. I think Thomas Muller's retired from international football anyway, if I remember. Like I think he's retired from international, and you know, Thomas Muller's been a great servant for not only Germany but for Bayern Munich as well. And I think Germany need to go in a different direction. I mean, you've got the two golden boys in Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala that are obviously playing attacking midfield where Muller would play. So they're not really. I mean, they're going to miss obviously Muller's experience. You know, his attitude. You know, his never say die attitude and popping up in crucial moments. But you've got two talents there that Germany will be building around. So you know, his miss will be felt, but not as big as if they didn't have any players really coming through. So DXR reckons France will win if they go through. Yeah, again, as I said, I think whoever wins this game between Spain and France, I make them the favourites for the Nations League. So I think that, as I said, this should be the final, but yeah, I think they'll be the team to beat whoever wins this semi-final tomorrow. Mbappe outscored everybody till 25. What does that mean? So Mbappe outscored everybody till 25. What does that mean, Mark? I'm not understanding what's the relevance to that. So Gamer says France and Spain favourite over Portugal, but I wouldn't write them off. Depends how they feel on the night. Also, Ronaldo has to play at his best, even though he's past it now. But again, this is the problem, Gamer. Ronaldo doesn't have to play because I know people will start saying, obviously, if you're a Ronaldo fan, you're gonna start saying, you know, Ronaldo got another goal. This is why he plays. But this wasn't a great Germany team, and it wasn't a great Germany performance in that second half, especially. So the problem is that when Portugal play up against the powerhouses, the likes of France, Spain, you know, even in England, you know, Holland, you know, when they play up against those teams, because of, I mean, Ronaldo's obviously someone that's always going to score goals, but the problem is he becomes a passenger when the team, when the opposition are on top, you know. And the thing is that Ronaldo's obviously 40 years of age, you know, still going strong. But the problem is he's taken away from a younger striker like a Ramos, you know, who's more mobile. You know, obviously Jota's there as well. And the fact that Ronaldo's got the status that he still has in football, I think personally, I think Martinez needs to be braver and just pick and choose when to play Ronaldo, because if they play up against Spain and France and Ronaldo starts the game, mark my words, and you've heard it here first already, they won't beat either one of them teams because those teams will dominate the ball. You would think, definitely Spain would, and Ronaldo's not going to see the ball, and all Belgium are going to hope is that they get the ball to Ronaldo to score. But I think going forwards, you can't really be relying on that because as great as a player Ronaldo has been, you know, it's time for him to let someone else come through, you know. If they still put him in the squad, he should be playing like a cameo role, coming off the bench when he's fresh, you know, and then trying to nick a goal. But against Germany tonight, people will say it worked because he got the tap in. But again, that was all Nuno Mendes' work. But if they play up against a Spain or France in the final, then I'm telling you this now, Ronaldo's going to be a passenger in that game, you know, because he's not someone that's going to, you know, win the ball back and help them defend. He's just purely there to try and get a goal for the team. But I think they'll be better off playing, you know, someone that's a bit more mobile to help the team. But we all know that Martinez is going to start him. He's the captain. He's the biggest name. But that could be to their detriment, you know. So we'll have to wait and see, though. Big up Mark for subbing. Yeah, big up, man. Big up to Ennis there for coming back on as well. As Mark said, this ain't the same German team as in 2014. Listen, you're 100% right. I think this German team now, they're going through a bit of a transition period. You know, you're thinking the likes of, there's no more Tony Cruz, Ilkay Gundogan. Again, I think he might be I don't know if he's retired from international football as well. But that was Germany's core midfield. You remember obviously Mesut Ozil. Tony Cruz, Ilkay Gundogan, and it's looking like all three of them now all finished. So they got to try and revamp that midfield now. You think of Rudiger, who's their best defender, obviously out injured. Jonathan Tah, who I thought was pretty poor tonight. Didn't look comfortable on the ball. I thought Robin Koch was decent, to be fair. I didn't expect him to start, but he was decent. Again, Musiala, him and Wirtz are the star boys of that team. Sane, for me, I was a massive fan of Sane when he first came through, man. He was looking like he was going to be like a generational winger. I think injuries, and form have killed him. And he hasn't got the same impact that many predicted or he had when he first came through. And as we know, they've never really had a striker. They've got Kai Havertz playing up there. There was high hopes for Yusufa Moukoko, who used to play for Borussia Dortmund. He's nowhere to be seen. And obviously Kai Havertz plays as the false nine. So they've got problems, man, because I don't think Füllkrug is a target man, but they need better than that. And the Waldemar guy that played tonight, he looked pretty decent in terms of his hold-up play. But as I said, man, I think they're not the same team as Mark said, and they're gonna need some serious players coming through to help return Germany back to the top of European and world football. Because at the moment, I think they're a long way off, even with the likes of Wirtz and Musiala. Adeyemi for me with his pace probably should have started, to give them a different dimension. But they'll be annoyed, man, that they haven't gone through, because in that first half, man, again, Costa in goal was keeping them in the game. There's one he saved from Leon Goretzka, which was a great save. And I think there was one he saved as well from, I can't remember who hit it. I think it might have been Pavlovic, might have been. But yeah, Portugal going through in the end, man. And their squad as a whole is the reason why they went through. Because, as I said, to bring on the likes of Conceição, Vitinha, who should have started, Nelson Semedo came on as well. Jota came on. It just shows you the amount of strength and depth that team has, So they finally went through, man. France defeated... Sorry, I don't rate Germany. No more, neither Bayern Munich. That's just me. I rate Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have got Harry Kane, Musiala, Michael Olise, Kimmich. They got some good players. Pavlovic coming through. They've got some very good players. But I think German football as a whole, especially the national team, as I said, they're going through transition. But you would expect Germany to come back into it because, as I say, Germany are powerhouses of international football, and they will get it right. But I think definitely they need a lot more, man. I think the one thing with Germany, which, I think everyone would agree, is that they just need to get a striker that's rated as world-class. I think they're the one nation that never really has a world-class striker, not since the days of Jurgen Klinsmann and Rudi Völler and them guys, you know what I mean? So they'll be hoping someone else comes through, but we'll have to wait and see. Big up to Chantal Rose. Yeah, big up Chantal for coming back on. Big up yourself. France defeated Croatia again. Was angry how they equalised for penalties. What was that in the last... When did France beat Croatia? Was that the Nations League knockouts or something like that when they beat them on penalties? I think it might have been that. Gamer says Martinez won't drop Ronaldo. Yep, I agree. And this could be his downfall, as I said, because for me, when they play against the tougher teams, if he's got anything about him, then he won't start Ronaldo in them games because Ronaldo will be a passenger. And as I said, against Spain, who dominate the ball, you can't afford to have one player that's not really helping the team defensively and just relying on your striker to get a goal, because that ain't gonna be beneficial for Portugal. But we'll have to wait and see, because we all know he's gonna play him. So yeah, it is what it is. So Ennis there says Germany's team wasn't good, but I think Portugal will win the competition. Overall, I think Ronaldo is a liability for Portugal, but his influence brings a lot to the team. Yeah, big up NSD, man. As I said, I think we already touched on it anyway. Um, I agree with you. Ronaldo is a liability for Portugal because, you know, if he's not getting a goal, he very rarely contributes to the team. You know what I mean? And again, this will go over people's heads because they look at Ronaldo as a superstar. You know, obviously a lot of fans are in love with Ronaldo. But if you're being honest with yourself, yeah, he shouldn't really be playing for Portugal right now. You know, I think it's commendable that he's 40 years of age and he still keeps himself in, great shape. But I think, when is this going to end really? And because he's got a goal, that's not really going to change my mind because the problem is Ronaldo's obviously in the team to get a goal. And obviously he's got his leadership as well in terms of, his winning mentality. But let's not look at Germany as a team where Ronaldo, because he got the goal, which is why Ronaldo deserves his place in the lineup, because they're gonna meet tougher teams than Germany. And as I said, this is a German team that are in transition, and they're gonna be up against a Spain or a France in the final, and this is where we're gonna see what Ronaldo does against these kind of teams. And as great as a career he's had, I think it's time for and again, it isn't Ronaldo's fault because, he's a massive figure for Portugal, the country, and in football in general. But it's up to, you know, Martinez, who's the manager, to just say to Ronaldo, look, we're not going to play you in this game because we need 11 players that are going to contribute defensively and attacking wise to the team, not just waiting on Ronaldo to get a goal. Because I can guarantee you this now, if Ronaldo never scored today, people will be saying, Ronaldo had a poor game. And I think because he scored, people are just going to say, Ronaldo gets another goal. But looking at the bigger picture, he was as Enestes says, a liability. So big up Sham, big up bro for coming on. So Portugal has more chance against France than Spain. France are a beatable team. Spain in the last Euros tournament was unbelievable, possibly better than Argentina's team who won the World Cup. And the thing is, I make you right, Gamer, because personally, I think Portugal has a better chance against France because, as we know with Spain throughout the years, Spain dominate the ball. And I think Portugal's team would have they'll have much joy against France, who France, will be a bit more open, I believe, rather than Spain. And they'll see the ball. They'll see the ball a lot more than what they would against Spain. So I think for Portugal, they probably want to meet a France because I think if they meet a Spain, I think Spain do them. Because as I say, Spain will dominate the ball. And a lot of these players have had a long season as well. And if you're just chasing shadows for the full game, it's gonna take its toll. But I think the one thing that Portugal have is a squad. They have a massive squad of quality. And when you got the likes of Vitinha, who didn't even start, someone that keeps the ball as well, you've always got a chance, man. But I think for Portugal, they would definitely want to. They would definitely prefer to meet France for me in the final rather than Spain. So that's one thing, yeah. Mark says if Morata can score anyway. Yeah, listen, Morata personally for international football, he's like he does do well for Spain. When it matters, he does come up for them. And again, there's no Rodri, so he'll be the captain tomorrow. And Morata's one of them ones that he always comes off for Spain. He gives his all when he does play for Spain. But I wouldn't bet against him, man. I think if he does get a chance, I think he will put it away because for Spain, he's a different beast for Spain, and he leads their line well personally, for them. But they've got so much quality around their team, and obviously Lamine Yamal, Pedri, who we all know, they'll be at the forefront of it. But they've got other players in their team that will cause problems. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow, man, because I honestly can't tell you who's going to win. If France was to win the game, then it wouldn't surprise me. But I just don't rate the way that Deschamps sets up. And if I'm honest with you, I want Deschamps to step down or for the French ball to sack him because some of the players that should be playing, the likes of Camavinga, don't play enough. I don't think he's brave enough as well, Deschamps, to play the players that need to play. You know, if you're putting Cherky and you're putting Elise in the squad, you know, I want to see both players start. I want to see, you know, France go over 4-2-3-1 and play Cherky in the 10, play Elise from the right, and then play Dembele as a false 9 and then Mbappe on the left. I think that'll be the way to go, you know, but we all know he's not going to do that. He's going to play 3 in midfield, three defensive players, and then just say to Mbappe and Dembele and Thuram to get on with it. And I think it's obvious that he's going to do that, but I'm hoping he does change that, but I have to wait and see. Ennis there says, do you still think Manchester United should entertain that deal? It's a swap deal for Ter Stegen plus 10 million euros for Marcus Rashford. Stegen played decent and he's obviously better than Onana. I've not seen that. Where's that? Ennis there, if you've got the quote, if you've got the quotes for that, put that in the chat, man, because I've not heard that. But to get 10 million euros for Ter Stegen and Rashford, I don't know, because what I'm trying to say is that Rashford still has a value of 40 million. And yes, getting his wages off of 300 grand a week off the wage bill is good. But if you can get 40 million for him as well, it's even better for the club. And for me, Ter Stegen's one of my favourite keepers, you know, ball-playing goalkeeper. But I don't think he's leaving Barca anyway. And today, Barca have agreed a deal for Juan Garcia of Espanyol. So you're looking at him to be the future keeper for Barcelona. Very good keeper as well. But I think that 10 million plus Rashford for Ter Stegen, I'm not so sure. Because, as I said, I'd much prefer the money. So you can go and spend on a midfielder or whoever, you know. But he's better than Onana. He is, but he's been out injured as well. So, yeah, I'd much prefer the money personally. But big up, man, for your comment. Guys, come on, only 9 likes. Let's at least try and hit 10 likes. So Gamer says, Gav, who would you like to win this cup? Well, personally, you know, being that obviously my last name's French, you know, and obviously I've got French origins as well. Obviously, France is my team, you know. The reason I like France is because they got a lot of players that I can resemble with, you know. So France is my team. But I think that Spain, with the likes of Yamal and Pedri, who are 2 of my favourite players right now, it's hard to bet against Spain because, as I say, Spain throughout the years dominate the ball. You know, you think of the likes when they had Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, David Silva, Isco, Fabregas, Xabi Alonso, Marcos Senna. I mean, they've just had some Thiago Alcantara. I mean, how can I forget Thiago Alcantara? I mean, you look at the midfielders they've had there, yeah? It's actually scary. It's actually scary that they can have that amount of quality in their midfield. And obviously passing on the torch now to the likes of, you know, obviously Rodri out injured, Zubamendi, Pedri, Fabian Ruiz, and they got Gavi as well. And don't forget, they got more players coming through. You know, you got the likes of Marc Bernal, who will be an international in the future for sure. Casado, you can say, both at Barcelona. You know, so I can't bet against Spain because of the quality in midfield, and obviously the quality that they've got in Lamine Yamal as well. So I'm gonna say Spain are slight favourites, but obviously France are my team. You know, it kills me that I can't see Paul Pogba playing, Anthony Martial, you know, not in that squad. But they've got talents in there, you know, obviously no Camavinga as well. But my head's saying France, but my heart's saying Spain, you know. Yeah, I think I have to be truthful. I think Spain will be the favourites, man. But either team for me going through wins it. That's what I would say. I can't see Bayern Munich winning Champions League for a while. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, it depends who they sign in the summer. I mean, they've been linked to Eze. They've been linked to, I think, Rodrigo as well. I think if you look at Bayern Munich's team, you know, obviously got Neuer there with his experience, you know, his aging. Obviously, Kimmich, you know, is he going to play right back or centre mid? You know, they got Upamecano there, Kim Min Jae, Alphonso Davies signed a new contract. You know, Pavlovic coming through, Elise, Musiala, Kane. I think what they need to do for me, Paulinho as well, João Paulinho. I think what they need to do for me, Bayern Munich, to try and have a chance of winning Champions League. For me, that they've got to sign, because you're thinking the likes of Gnabry, Kingsley Coman, maybe Leroy Sané as well, moving on. They've got to go and sign, for me, you know, a world-class left winger. And again, there ain't too many of them. You know, we're looking at Rodrigo as the outstanding one that might be on the move. But for me, they've got to sign a top-class left winger, world-class left winger, and another central midfield player for me. If they sign two players that go straight into their lineup, you know, then I think they might go close. But I think as it stands, I'm not so sure, because I don't think they'll have enough when they play up against the PSGs of this world, you know, Barcelona's and Man Cities who are going on a spending spree. I don't think they'll have enough against those teams. But who knows, man? It's still early days. You know, they could surprise a few teams and going in the market. But yeah, I think it's a safe bet to say, man. We're not sure at the moment. You know. So big up to Stu MC, says Due, Dembele, Elise. No need for egos. So who's the egos you're talking about, Stu? Obviously Due and Due, Dembele, Elise. Yeah, they're all part of the squad. But who's the egos you're talking about? Let us know, man. So Sham says Deschamps has been there since 2012. It's time for a change. You think Zidane would be suited for international football? Reckon he hasn't gone back into management because he's waiting for this role. Yeah, and again, man, I think so too. I mean, Zidane was my first choice to take over at Man United, but obviously with the problem that this team are in, you know, that was never really a non-starter. So, but I think he's primed to take over from Deschamps. But somehow Deschamps just keeps surviving, you know. And as I said, with Deschamps, the football that he plays for me is boring. So I want a front foot manager. I want someone that's going to play the talent. And I believe if Zidane does go there, and Zidane's obviously for me the next one in line to be the France manager. You know, one of the greatest players ever. You know, won multiple Champions Leagues with Real Madrid as well. So he's primed to go to France, you know, as the idol that the players will look up to. And yeah, I think if he does manage France, I can see him playing, you know, more of an attacking team than what Deschamps does, you know. And I think it's only a matter of time before Deschamps steps down or gets sacked anyway, because I just don't know how this team can carry on with him in charge. Because as I said, it's gone stale for me with France. You know, they need like a new manager to give him some fresh ideas, man. Because as I said, he's still playing. Like, I mean, I think Rabiot is a good midfielder, but for me, how Camavinga doesn't play regularly, I don't really understand. So, yeah, hopefully Zidane takes over sooner or later. You know, again, I'd love him at Man United, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see if he takes over at France. So Real Madrid this decade was the one to be winning Champions League. Yep. So Deschamps should step down after the Nations League, whether they win or not. I mean, yeah, Sham. I mean, I think if I'm honest with you, that could be a possibility. You know, I'm not sure how long Deschamps has left on his contract. I'm not sure if he's signed a new one. But I think if he does win it, he should step down. But on the other hand, you know, as you said, man, I think it should be a formality really that he does go, because as I said, man, I think they need they need to be going in a different direction. And I think if Zidane does come in as well, I think you might see the likes of Ryan Cherky getting more game time, Elise getting more game time, you know. So I hope that happens. Yeah, big up DXR, man. Yeah, big up, bro, for coming on, man. No worries, no worries. We'll catch you tomorrow. Um, guys, also I'll be back tomorrow again, obviously, for the France and Spain match reaction, which is sure to be a good game. So yeah, make sure you guys are back tomorrow as well. Guys, anyone been watching any of the news today? So Liam Delap obviously has obviously completed his move to Chelsea, and I think Chelsea are paying 20 million up front, and they're paying obviously the other 10 million in installments. So that's not a bad deal for Chelsea, man. And it makes me sick that Chelsea just keep getting these deals over the line. You know, it's madness. Like how Chelsea just keep getting these deals. You know, because if we're looking at Delap and what he's gonna be in the future, because I do think Delap is England's next striker for the next 5 to 10 years after Harry Kane. I think that's the trajectory that he's gonna go on. To get him for 30 million, you know, 20 million and then 10 million installments is great business. They're in talks with Mike Maignan, and I see today that AC Milan, obviously, I think Magnan's in his last year of his contract, but AC Milan want 30 million euros, you know, to sell him. And I think Chelsea are only looking to pay like 10. But if I'm Chelsea, I'm just, you know, I'm upping it a bit more because, you know, Mike Maignan's one of the best keepers in the world. And, you know, I heard obviously Petrovic might be coming back. But if they get Mike Maignan in, you know, that's a guarantee there. And to get him for that little as well, I think they should just try and make the deal happen, you know, and don't, you know, because obviously AC Milan haven't got to sell him, but they're going to want to get decent money for him because he's their number one. And I think the fact that Chelsea are going to have money, they should just, you know, just try and come to a compromise with AC Milan and get him in because for sure, man, he's gonna improve their team no end. You know, ball playing goalkeeper as well. You know, leader, and he's what Chelsea need in goal. So yeah, I think they should just get that done. But so I've read 20 mil for that. Yeah, so I read it today. They AC Milan want 30 million euros. So Chelsea want to offer 10 because he's in the last year of his contract, but AC Milan want 30 mil, which I think, to be fair, AC Milan are taking the piss really by asking for 30 million for a guy in the last year of his contract. And it's looking like Maignan isn't going to sign a new contract. But you can see why they're asking for that because he's a number one and they're just trying to get the best for them. But I think they'll come to a compromise, Chelsea and AC Milan. I think 15, 20 million will probably do it. And what is 15 million, 20 million euros at the end of the day? It's nothing. But I think they will come to a compromise for sure. Guys, as well, Real Madrid. And again, make sure you check out my Next Gen 50. You know, I've been doing the best 50 young players in world football. So I've done Franco Mastantuono already. And it's looking like Real Madrid are trying to battle PSG for Mastantuono. If I'm Mastantuono, I'm going to PSG. Because I think if he's got any brains, and again, I think they're going to get him in to loan him back out to River Plate because I can't see them buying Mastantuono and he comes into that team because you've got someone in Arda Güler who can't even get game time and he's a similar profile to Mastantuono, both left-footed, you know, both number 10s who can also play out wide as well. And again, I don't really understand why they're going for Mastantuono because they've got Arda Güler who they're not making use of. So unless Arda Güler is going out and they're getting Mastantuono to replace him, it makes sense. But for me, I don't understand why, you know, I think Mastantuono should just choose PSG because, you know, I think PSG, he could use PSG as a stepping stone to Real Madrid in a way. And I know PSG are the European champions, but obviously it might be a case where he can, you know, stay there for a couple of seasons, you know, 2-3 seasons, get experience in Europe. And then, you know, if Real Madrid are still interested, he could make that move, you know. But I think if he does go to Real Madrid straight away, he could have the same problems that that Arda Güler's having. So I don't think that'd be a good move. But he's got a 38 million euro release clause as well, so that'll be easy to get done. But I think he should go PSG personally. This PSG team at the moment, he doesn't really figure in, but he will get game time because you know, he can play as one of the midfielders. You know, if they want to play a bit more of an advanced midfielder. So yeah, I think it would be a good deal for Mastantuono to go to PSG. You know, big up to Nihal, Sue the GOAT. Again, this is what I'm trying to say. You know, Ronaldo got the goal, and you know, Nihal's obviously excited. Nihal, make sure you smash that like button, man, as well. If you're just coming in, you can't be coming in with Sue the GOAT and not smash the like, man. But yeah, big up yourself anyway, man. As I said, Ronaldo got the tap in, but he could be a liability, man, if he does play in the final for me. So Costa was phenomenal. He should play in the top 5 clubs. Like Barca should try him. So yeah, Barca just signed Wayne Garcia, so that's not going to happen. And yeah, Costa is a good goalkeeper. You know, I think he's a decent keeper, to be fair, and he's going to be. Is he going to be on the move this summer? I mean, I know Man City were interested, but Porto are going to ask for a bit of money for him, so I'm not too sure. You know, I'm not too sure, but yeah, he's a good keeper, man. And to be honest with you, he kept Portugal in this game, making 2 crucial saves. And then this is what happens, man. If you've got a good number 1, you know, that is making them crucial saves, you know, it's going to aid, you know, to your team getting over the line. And he definitely helped them and do that. He made some very good saves, you know. But yeah, big up for coming through, man. Anyway, guys, any other news? Any other news today? Any other news? Any other news, guys? Obviously, we've talked about already. Man City, you know, getting Tijani Reinders, 46.5 mil or 40.3. And again, I can't believe that they've actually got him for that cheap, you know. And I heard Danny Murphy as well, absolute clown, Danny Murphy. I heard Danny Murphy saying he's not a world beater, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. You know, you've got these pundits like Danny Murphy, yeah. Danny Murphy clearly hasn't watched Tijani Reinders, you know. And the funny thing is that the majority of the people in this country, you know, that have the opinion like Danny Murphy, they will have the cheek to tell you that Declan Rice is better than Reinders. But it's not based on anything. It's just based because Declan Rice is playing in England and Reinders is playing for AC Milan. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, these guys ain't got a clue what's going on. For him to say that, you know, Reinders isn't a world beater, so he doesn't really understand why City have basically bought him, just shows you that these guys are out of touch, man, because Reinders is better than Declan Rice, but Danny Murphy won't think that because he sees Declan Rice playing in the Premiership, and because the Premiership is hyped up to be the best league in the world, which it isn't. It's the most competitive league in the world. So Danny Murphy will have the view that Declan Rice is better than Reinders, and again, if you just watch both players, you will know that Reinders is better than Declan Rice. You know, so yeah, exactly, man. These pundits, man, are just an absolute joke in this country, you know. And it's even more reason to not listen to the likes of Danny Murphy and these other guys, and listen to and watch channels like this, because I'm gonna give you the real truth, you know. Because I watch football. I watch football all over the globe, you know. So I've seen a lot of football as well, and for him to say that Reinders is not a world beater, you know, and he thinks the money's too much. He clearly hasn't watched Reinders. You know what I mean? So, so Nihal said Ronaldo, even though he is not tracking or anything, he still has the striker touch, and he's always in right position. I feel like if Portugal had Dembele at their front, it would be game over for opposition. Don't know how to answer that one. I mean, if Portugal had Dembele at their front, it would be game over for the opposition. I don't know really. As I mentioned earlier, with Ronaldo, he's purely in the team for tap-ins, you know, to get a goal. But he'll be a detriment to the team as a whole if they play against the better nations. So that's one to watch out for. As for Dembele, yeah, Dembele would make any team stronger, you know, with his quality and his pace, you know. And I think what I like about Ousmane Dembele as well is that you can clearly see that Dembele's matured, you know, because I remember when Dembele was at Borussia Dortmund as a youngster, obviously coming from Rennes, and he was an absolute problem, like his pace, you know, creative as well. And obviously going to Barcelona, massive money he went there for, you know, a lot of injuries, form as well. But you can see the quality that Dembele had, you know. And if you look at him now at PSG, did I see Enrique playing him as a false nine? I didn't see that. You know, I thought Dembele was purely a winger, left or right. And the fact that he's playing him as a false nine, you're getting to see what a great footballer that Dembele is in terms of his link play. And as I said, man, you can tell he's matured a lot. So Sham says, I've seen a Fabrizio post saying Real Madrid are interested in Moroccan 16-year-old talent Azadine, who's do you know what? He's a very good player, this guy. Azadine Uzani, yeah. So he's on my list to do, Sham. Yeah, he's on my list, man. Azadine I think it's Azadine Uzani or Uzani, I think, yeah. Yeah, he's on my list to do. So I've got quite a few names to go through. But yeah, he's definitely on my list, man. But he's a very good player. But I think they only go for him if they don't get Mastan Tuano, you know. So Nihal says, top three midfielders this season. For me, it's Vitinha, Pedri, and João Neves. For me, Vitinha and Pedri, definitely. João Neves, he's had a good season, but for me, he isn't in the top three. I think for me, you're looking at Fabian Ruiz has been better than him. Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, Moises Caicedo. So again, the top three for me is Vitinha, Pedri, and Moises Caicedo. They're the three best midfielders in the world right now for me. And then they're closely followed by the likes of Fabian Ruiz, Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch, you know, probably a few others. But for me, the top three, Vitinha, Pedri, and Caicedo, you know. Gamer says, if Ronaldo played for Spain, would have been a better example, or of France, he would probably have won World Cup by now. Yeah, but that's like saying... Yeah, but that's like saying if, I don't know, if Kobe Minu was in Spain's midfield in that Euros, he would have won the Euros. Like, you know, like, because Ronaldo's there, it doesn't mean necessarily that Spain would have won the World Cup or France would have, because, you know, they might have had a... Like, if I'll give you an example, Gamer, yeah? When France won the World Cup with Olivier Giroud up top, yeah, if that was Ronaldo up top rather than Olivier Giroud, France probably don't win the World Cup. And that might go over people's heads, but it's because if you look at the job that Giroud done, he allowed the likes of Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann to thrive because he was the target man. And this is what and the thing is, this is how football works, you know. If you've got a selfless striker like a Giroud, you know, that knits everything together, it lets other players thrive. You know, if you look at the combination of when Man United had Wout Weghorst and Rashford, there was no surprise in why Rashford got a lot of goals, because Weghorst was the one that was occupying the defenders, and obviously Rashford was the one that was getting the numbers. You know, so to say if Ronaldo was at Spain or France, he would have won the World Cup. Again, that's not how football works, because if you look at Spain, who they had up top, I think was it Morata? You know, Morata does a slightly different job to Ronaldo. You know, obviously Ronaldo, because of his name, you know, his legacy in the game, people will think, yeah, Ronaldo's gonna win a World Cup playing that team, but that's not how it works. And the France thing I just said to you is a prime example, because if Ronaldo's in that France team, France probably don't win the World Cup, because Olivier Giroud, even though he never scored a goal, he was absolutely crucial to how that team played, you know. So yeah, but it's a good question, but not as straightforward as that. T-Man Towels, big up, man. Chelsea fan says Ronaldo football is getting very exciting these days. I don't know, is it? I'll be honest with you. I think football's regressed from what it used to be. That's a fact for me. Um, it's definitely regressed, man. You don't get you're hardly getting, the individual mercurial talents, which is why when I look at players like Lamine Yamal, Pedri, other players as well, these guys are just individual talents, but players like that are getting, they're getting ousted from the game. Look at João Felix. He's a prime example. João Felix technically, is an absolute magician. But he's in an era of football now where football's become an athlete's game, and you need a lot of managers just want 11 athletes, But if you look at João Felix, he's a pure number 10, someone that gets on the ball, creates, makes things happen. But he can't get a break now because he's playing in an era now where you have to do a lot more than just be a mercurial talent in a sense, And for me, it's ruined football. If anyone remembers Matt Letizia for Southampton, Matt Letizia was an absolutely unbelievable player. He wouldn't survive in football today because he wasn't an athlete, but he was someone that was just technically gifted, just like a lot of players before. So he's a prime example. Jadon Sancho is another one, technically gifted, but playing in an era now where all the wide players, people just expect their wide players to just take on their man at every opportunity and get crosses in, or get shots off. But Sancho's a highly intelligent player, technically gifted, that isn't going to do that. So it's a bit of a shame the way the game's gone now because it's very heavily athletes based. This is why someone like Lamine Yamal is gold dust because the way that he plays, he doesn't. Lamine Yamal doesn't rely on physicality, on his pace. He's just technically gifted, and players like that will always come to the top in the end. And again, Barcelona allow him that platform. They allow him the platform to do that. Because if Lamine Yamal was in England, he probably wouldn't be allowed to play the way he does unless he's at Man City. But even that, Pep will probably take that away from his game. So yeah, it's mad. It's mad. But I mean, international football for me is very slow, Team Mantels. But again, these are the kind of games I want to watch. I want to watch the Germany. I mean, it wasn't a great game today. It wasn't Germany. It wasn't Germany at their best. But Spain, France is what I want to see. Even England, I want to see England play against the best nations and see what they're about. Because I'm sick and tired of watching England play Andorra, Azerbaijan. And, no offense to them countries, but them countries ain't going to do nothing. Luxembourg and them dead countries. I want to see them play against, some real top hitters. The Frances, the Germanys, the Spains, Italy, Holland, Portugal. I want to see them play against them European teams, not the Andorras of this world, because they're going to beat these part-time footballers and they're getting nothing from them games. So... Niall says, will Madrid ever find a replacement for Cruz? Because I have never seen a player of this type like he is so different. I mean, Tony Cruz, to be honest with you, he was a conductor, and obviously there's rumours that, Real Madrid are chasing Enzo Fernandez and, to replace Tony Cruz, which, I mean, I don't get that really. He's not a Tony Cruz type player. I think he could do, a slightly similar job. But if I'm looking at players in football right now that can do what Tony Cruz done in terms of control the game and conduct, I mean, again, there isn't too many players out there. And I'm looking around now. If I look in the Premier League, I don't think there's really anyone, if I'm honest. Again, I think the profile of Tony Cruz is not really there for me. I think... for Real Madrid, for what they've got, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, I think they have to build their team differently because players like Tony Cruz, they don't come around too often. He was a pure technician, and again, Tony Cruz started his career off as a number 10 and obviously dropped deeper into midfield. Very similar to Andrea Pirlo, really. Now, if anyone remembers Andrea Pirlo, Pirlo started as number 10 and then dropped back to a deep line playmaker. If I'm looking at the closest thing to a Tony Cruz, you know, I would probably have to say Sandro Tonali is probably the closest thing to Tony Cruz. You know, he isn't a Tony Cruz clone, but in terms of what he does, in terms of conducting the game, and again, he's more tenacious, so he brings that with him. I think Sandro Tonali is probably the closest thing to a Tony Cruz, because I can't really see too many players that are like a Tony Cruz, and this is why I look at Barcelona and having someone like a Pedri, who's a different player to Tony Cruz. You know, when you get in players like this, man, they're gold dust, because it's hard to get a midfielder technically gifted, press resistant on the ball. You know, you think of when the likes of Marco Verratti was around. You know, Verratti was underrated, man. Verratti was a top player at PSG, but yeah, these players unfortunately are not in the game no more. But there will be players coming through, but whether they can reach the heights of the Tony Cruzes, you know, obviously Luka Modric is going as well. So then they're losing Cruz and Modric. So yeah, it's one of them things that I would say Sandro Tonali at the moment is probably the closest thing. But yeah, obviously you can't getting Tonali out of Newcastle is going to cost you at least, well, more than 100 million. So yeah, you can't see that happening. So T Mantal says, if Yamal wins against Dembele tomorrow, he deserves Ballon d'Or. Yeah, well, I think the only way Yamal, I mean, I've mentioned this plenty of times for me. Guys, there's 17 of you in there. Let's try and hit the like button. Obviously, there's only 12 likes, 17 of you in there. If you haven't smashed that like button and you're enjoying the content, okay, just one hit the button. Obviously, that'll help the channel to grow. And obviously, make sure you subscribe to my channel as well. And big up yourselves, guys. 22 of you in there at the moment. So smash that like button. But yeah, what I would say, for me, Yamal has to win the Nations League, if I'm honest, to have a chance of him topping Dembele. Because again, if we're talking about the purest footballer, Lamine Yamal wins the Ballon d'Or all day. But as we know with the Ballon d'Or, a lot of it's based on popularity, numbers, and what you've won in terms of Champions Leagues and international tournaments. Now, the thing that Yamal has in his favour, he's the best footballer in the world. You know, Barca have won league title, Copa del Rey. Spain obviously won the Euros. So he's got that in his favour. And he was a key player in all those trophies. Now, if he wins the Nations League, that might put him ahead of Dembele. But Dembele's got the numbers. And again, Yamal has got the numbers as well. But Dembele's had a great 2025. But he's got the added incentive of winning the European, of winning the Champions League. And he's won so he's won a quadruple this season. So he might have a better chance of being the favourite right now. But I think whoever gets the furthest in this Nations League between Spain and France, and if they win it, I think that will seal Yamal or Dembele as the Ballon d'Or favourite. And I think it's between them two for me, definitely. Yeah, big up. Great question, T-Man Taus, man. So Sham says, it's not gone over my head. Giroud didn't even take a shot, if I remember. He was there to do another job and get the ball for other attackers. But again, this kind of conversation, I think people, unless you're really invested in football, you won't look at that, because I think people will look at Giroud and think, how can France have a striker that doesn't get a goal? And it won't make sense to people. But again, if you just see the job that he was doing, there's no way that Mbappe would have thrived if Giroud wasn't in that team. So someone mentioned Ronaldo would have won a World Cup by now. That's not necessarily true, as I said, because you don't know how the makeup of the team would have gone. Because Ronaldo wouldn't have done what Giroud done, which meant that the team would have not functioned as properly. You know, so yeah, it's something to think about, man. But as I said, the career that Ronaldo's had, man, there's no doubt he's had a great career. But to say he would have won a World Cup at France or at Spain, that isn't how football works, unfortunately. And that's not to say that would have happened. Guys, come on, 27 of you in there, only 13 likes. Again, if you like the content, smash that like button, guys. And big up yourself for coming through. And make sure you give me your questions. T Mantel says, I would pay money to watch Yamal, not Dembele. Listen, that's not even a disrespect to Dembele, because Dembele is a very good player, but Yamal's generational, you know. And again, you won't find many people saying they'd prefer Dembele to Yamal, in my opinion. You know, Yamal's generational, and Dembele, for me, it's great to see Dembele's matured and is getting back to the level that was predicted of him. Because at Barcelona, you know, there was a lot expected of Dembele, and injuries, as I said, killed him. You know, so but it's good to see him at PSG and rediscovering his form. And again, he's becoming a goal threat as well, which is mad. So yeah. I feel like every small things matter. Like, even if a single player was different, it would be different results. It could be 2 to 3 World Cups for Ronaldo, or 0. We can't tell because it isn't reality. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you can't just say Ronaldo would have got 2, 3 World Cups if he was at Spain or France, because, as I said, that's not how football works, man. But yeah, as I said, Giroud is a prime example, as I've mentioned already. You know, look at Giroud in that World Cup when France won it, and tell me if Ronaldo could have done a similar job, because I don't think he would have. Mark says, when Messi did it, the central back was silent. Central back was silent. I'm not understanding that, Mark, but make sure you trying to kind of explain it a bit better, man, 'cause I'm not getting that. Have you seen Yamal's goals this season? He's a GOAT. Yeah, listen, Yamal, as I said, that many of you heard already, Yamal's a generational talent, man. He's gonna dominate the Ballon d'Or for me for the next 5-10 seasons, because I don't see no one close to him. I know there's been talk of William Esteval, you know, being on his level, but for me, I'm yet to see that. And as I said, I think there's talk about Doué, but Yamal's gonna dominate it, man, for sure. You know, to be that good at 17, there hasn't been a player that's been that dominant, that you know, that crucial to club and country at the age of 17. And let's not forget as well, you know, this is a guy that made his debut, you know, for Barcelona at 15. You know, even younger than Messi. So yeah, man, he's gonna dominate football for me. And as I said, he's someone that's keeping football alive, man. And I'm glad to say, man, that I'm witnessing something special, because, you know, when you've been seeing the likes of Messi, Neymar, Ronaldinho, R9, Zidane, you know, to see a player like this in the attack now is good, man. Eden Hazard, you know, these guys are elite footballers. You know, Paul Pogba's as well, elite footballers, and Iniesta, you know. And now we get to see Lamine Yamal, man. So it's good viewing, man. Good viewing. I disagree. There are plenty of stars this season. Okay. I even watched Fenerbahce and Leipzig games. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Big up to Jadon Sanchez as well. I thought you could say Jadon Sancho, man. Yeah, big up Jadon Sanchez, man. Big up for coming on. Benfica versus Boca Juniors will be playing, I think. What is that in the Club World Cup? Benfica and Boca Juniors. Gamer, great question, man. Cruz or Modric? You know what? That's a tough one. But for me, I'll have to say Luka Modric, because I rate Luka Modric. Put it this way, yeah. If I was to say of their generation, you know, for me, Andres Iniesta for me is the best central midfielder of his generation, and the only one for me that can rival him is probably Luka Modric for me. You know, you got Thiago Alcantara, but I think Thiago Alcantara is the generation just before that. So again, if anyone thinks there's other players, then smash that in the chat. But Cruz or Modric, for me, I'm gonna say Modric. But Tony Cruz, man, what a player. Great player. So Mark says, I preferred Rakitic over Modric. Do you know what? Rakitic was a very good player. And again, he was someone that was underrated, because when the likes of Xavi was done, and then Rakitic came in there, and I believe it was the midfield of Busquets, Rakitic, and Iniesta. You know, Rakitic was that good. You know, he made the miss of Xavi not really that noticeable because he was obviously at Sevilla as well. And again, Rakitic was someone that was rated very highly when he was coming through at Dinamo Zagreb. And another player that played as a 10 and then dropped back into midfield. But he was a very good player, Rakitic, you know. And as I said, you don't go to Barcelona and be a regular starter if you're not a good player, man. And if you look at when Rakitic was at Barcelona, you know, I believe Neymar Neymar was thriving because of that as well. Because not only was Rakitic, you know, a very good footballer, like he was someone that he was selfless in terms of his work. You know, he would win the ball back a lot, and it allowed the likes of Messi, Neymar, and Suarez to thrive. So, yeah, man, he was a great footballer, very underrated. You know, and obviously that Croatia midfield, Rakitic, Modric, and Brozovic. You know, that's a top midfield, man. Like, you know, and they were instrumental in Croatia going all the way to the final against France. You know. Big up to Oracle Beats says, I will never compare Yamal to Messi, Ronaldo, or Neymar. He needs to prove it for 5 years or 10 years before I can put him in that pedestal. But right now, he is still a baby compared to any of them. So I think when you're comparing Yamal to Messi, Ronaldo, or Neymar, you can compare the ability, you know, because I look at Yamal, and Yamal is a mix of Messi and Neymar. You know, he's got the left foot, and if you look at the way he plays, you don't see Yamal, you know, doing step overs. You don't see him doing that. He just uses his pure technical ability to go past players, just like Messi. But he's got the arrogance and the confidence of a Neymar to his game. So he's Messi and Neymar in one, really, you know. And if you're gonna get a player like that, he's gonna dominate football. Like, it's as simple as that. And there's no surprising why he's a leading player for both club and country, because if you've got the talents and the arrogance of a Messi and Neymar, you can't you're gonna be a star at the end of the day. So it's not about comparing their careers. I'm looking at the ability, because he's as talented as Messi and Neymar, you know, even at that young age. But again, he still has to win the Ballon d'Ors. He still has to take Barcelona to winning Champions Leagues, multiple league titles. He's still got that to prove, but is he capable of that? 100%, man, because to do what he's doing at this age, I don't think people are taking it in. 17-year-olds are not meant to be doing what he's doing. You know, you would assume 17-year-olds should be coming off the bench, you know, getting 5-10 minutes, trying to feel their way into the team. But he's crucial for both club and country, you know, and it just shows you how good he is, you know, and he's only going to get better and better with more experience as well. So, big up TJ, man. Yeah, big up for coming on. Guys, come on. There's 26 of you in there now. Only 13 likes, okay? Smash that like button, guys. Help the channel to grow. You know, if you're enjoying the content, you know, make sure you subscribe to my channel as well at GavGoesIn. And again, make sure you smash that like button. Obviously, help my channel to grow. And big up yourselves, guys, for coming on. Oracle Beats says, Yamal is a great player for his age, but don't forget there is something called injury. Lewandowski said it. He needs to do it consistently for 5 years or more. Again, I agree, man. I mean, Yamal could get a bad injury. Fingers crossed he doesn't. And obviously, the guy that's been hyped up so much, you know, that could all change. But, you know, it's all ifs and buts. You know, I think the fact that he's playing in Spain, I don't predict he will get a big injury because it's less physical over there. But yeah, he does have to prove it season in, season out. But to do what he's doing at the age of 17, as I mentioned, you know, there's quotes from Yamal as well saying that, you know, he's fully aware that he needs to keep doing it season in, season out. And he said that he's determined to keep getting better and better, you know, and to have that kind of mentality, man, he can't fail at the end of the day. And as I said, he's someone that, for me, I don't see no close challenges to him. You know, I think he's going to be dominating football for a while. And yeah, obviously, if he stays clear of injury, why can't he, you know? Um, so Mark says, I'm younger than you, but I forget. Well, how do you know you're younger than me? How do you know that? Mark, what year was you born in? And then I can see if you are. Um, big up TJ, man. What you say about Man United next year? I mean, to be honest with you, those of you that have been watching my channel will know where I'm going with this. For me, the manager for me shouldn't have survived, and I stick by that. But again, my energy towards the manager, I'm kind of parking that now because it's very clear that Ineos want to give him, at least the beginning of the season. So there's no point, going crazy over this manager to get him out. The Bruno Fernandes for one for me. If anyone's seen my stream from yesterday, the Bruno Fernandes one for me, that pissed me off because I just don't understand how the club didn't make it obvious that this player needs to move on. As I mentioned, you're getting 100 million for a player that's turning 31 next season. That would have helped the squad to be reinvested. Definitely getting 2 midfielders in. Obviously, with Bruno staying, Man United might get 1 midfielder if we're lucky. But getting in Cunha, obviously links to Mbuemo. It's a great start, but for me, I want to see some outgoings. I want to see Rasmus Højlund out that club as soon as possible. The same with Garnacho. Get them guys gone. I want to see the likes of Mason Mount, which would be hard to move on, but trying to, even if he goes on loan. The same with Luke Shaw. Man United need to be, serious again, and if the likes of Bruno and the manager are staying to the beginning of the season and they bring in, more players like a Baleba, I'm a massive fan of Baleba. If he comes in, Gomez on a free as well, which is a great bit of business. A striker, Mbuemo, if that happens, then I'm more optimistic. One game a week as well. But until that happens, man, I think we have to remain cautious because this manager for me isn't the manager that's going to take United to where they need to get to, and he's lucky to still be in the job. And again, Bruno Fernandes for me should have been moved on. And if this manager is going to continue shoehorning him into the team, it's only going to be problems for the club going forwards. So yeah, as I said, man, I just hope that I'm just hoping that the club, are trying to get back to being amongst the elite. It's going to take a long time, but we can only keep our fingers crossed, man. But yeah, TJ, big up, man. Big up yourself. Gamer says, I think if Ronaldo played with Mbappe, they would do good together. If Ronaldo was in his best form, I think Ronaldo played with no good Portugal team his whole career compared to his other national teams. And you know what, Gamer? I'm happy you put this in the chat because, I mean, again, it's your opinion, yeah, but you're wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong, yeah, because, and this is why people need to really think about certain things like this, because you're saying Ronaldo and Mbappe playing together would be good, and I'll tell you why it won't be good. I'll give an example, yeah. If you was to play Marcus, like a front three of Marcus Rashford, Erling Haaland, and Mo Salah as a front three, the majority of people will tell you that that would work. And I'll tell you why it wouldn't work. Because you've got 3 players there that are, well, in Marcus Rashford, the shoot first player. Mo Salah is the goal getter for Liverpool. And Erling Haaland's tasked with getting the goals for Man City. So people are on paper, that front 3 would look good for most people. But the reality is that's not how football works. Because out of all 3 of them players, the player most likely to create is Mo Salah, yeah? But again, Mo Salah, his task in Liverpool is the goal scorer. He's the one that is going to get the majority of the goals for Liverpool. So if you was to have those 3 as a front 3, on paper it looks good, but that front 3 would never work because you haven't got a natural creator in there, Whereas if you was to have, let's say, a Jack Grealish instead of Marcus Rashford, and you was to have a Mo Salah and an Erling Haaland, that would work better because Jack Grealish is a creator. So at least you've got 1 creator in there, and then you've got 2 guys that want to get goals. But I think especially with Erling Haaland, The fact that Haaland's playing at Man City where they have creators all around, there's a reason why Haaland gets goals. Because if Haaland was playing where there was two wide forwards, he wouldn't get goals because the wide forwards would be shoot first players. So it's about having combinations. So just going back to what you said about Ronaldo and Mbappe would work. That combination there would never work because you've got Mbappe, who's a shoot first player and would want to get goals, and Ronaldo, we know what he is. He's all about goals, and that combination will never work because again, you've got two players that are not natural strikers. They're two players that play from the left. Obviously, Ronaldo, as he's getting older, he plays more as a poacher for club and country, and obviously Mbappe, as we know, is playing through the middle. But he's only playing through the middle because Vinicius Junior is playing from the left at Real Madrid. So to say that Ronaldo and Mbappe would do good together, that's completely opposite. They wouldn't, because you would need someone to knit it together. Whereas if you had let's say you had Olivier Giroud as the striker, and then you've got an Mbappe from the left, and then you've got let's say a Riyad Mahrez or a Brian Mbuemo. That would work better because you've got the facilitator in Giroud, and then you've got two wide forwards in Mbuemo and Ronaldo. And then Ronaldo would be Ronaldo, as you would think, would be getting more goals. And then Mbuemo would chip in, and Giroud would get less goals because he'd be the facilitator. And again, that's just how football works. It's not a case of just putting goal-hungry players all together and thinking, that's the idea for these players to thrive. Football's never worked like that. It's about combinations. There's a reason why, if you look at Barcelona, although Barcelona have had Neymar, Messi, and Luis Suarez, three world-class players, the reason why those three worked so well is because you've got Neymar and Messi, who are both creators first, but get goals. And then you've got Suarez, who gets goals, but is a creator as well. So you're getting creators and goal scorers from those front three, which is why that combination is perfect, And again, all three of them haven't got outrageous pace, but they've got good acceleration, and most importantly, they are high technical level players. And again, it's about combinations. You look at Benzema, Ronaldo, Bale combination. Benzema, selfless, false nine, can link the play. Ronaldo and Bale, obviously, Ronaldo's a goal scorer. Bale's a creator and a goal scorer. Benzema's a creator and a goal scorer. So again, it's about combinations, man. But good question. But as I said, to say that Ronaldo and Mbappe will play well together, for me they wouldn't. And I've give you the reasons for that. But big up yourself, man. So Mark says, hey, United will do better, can't do worse than it did. Well, listen, you would hope so, man, because this season just gone was a shambles, man, and it'll be hard to top that, put it that way. But we'll have to wait and see. So Ronaldo never played with a good attacking team for Portugal. Well, that isn't true, because look at the attack they've got now. The attack they have now is arguably the strongest, you would say. Obviously, back in the day when they had the likes of Rui Costa, Figo, obviously Ronaldo was still young coming through, Pauleta. He was still a youngster, and that team there was talented. But if we're looking at the combinations and the variety of attackers they have, it's probably the strongest group of players Ronaldo's been a part of. So, yeah, man. So Oracle says, he has the ability, no doubt. I want to see him win, but don't forget we had Ansu Fati, Eden Hazard, and the rest with all the same hype he is getting now. I think he still has to prove himself for years. And you know what? I'm glad you brought up Ansu Fati. I think Ansu Fati is actually going to Monaco, and Ansu Fati coming in when he came on, there's a reason why he took number 10 when Messi went, because his trajectory, his path to Barcelona is what Lamine Yamal is now. And obviously injuries have killed him. But I'm hoping Fati gets back to the level that many thought he was. I mean, Eden Hazard is one of the best players of his generation, easily, So, as I said, the ability for these players are there. It's whether they can be motivated to, go to the top and stay injury clear. And as I said, in Lamine Yamal's case, all he has to do is stay injury clear, because if he does, he's gonna reach the heights of these players. Because as I said, to be doing what he's doing at 17, he can only get better, you know. And one thing's for certain as well, he's got what, 30 odd GA this season. He's only gonna get better. So yeah, as I said, man, he can't fail, man. He's got too much quality about his game. Yeah, big up, Mark, man. I'm live tomorrow, so obviously France and Spain tomorrow, so I'll be going live straight after the game, just like today as well. But big up, man. So TJ says he reckons that Dembele will edge it. Messi and Ronaldo level this year, maybe Dembele edge it, but after that, at him time shine. Yeah, listen. As I said, man, Yamal's he's gonna dominate for sure, man. There's no doubting he's gonna dominate football. Dembele, for me, at the moment, is in the lead in terms of Ballon d'Or, purely because of Champions League. But I do believe that Yamal could change that if he wins Nations League, you know. But as I said, I'll give it to Yamal because he's the best footballer. But if Dembele gets it, man, then he would have deserved it for sure. So Mark says Bruno Fernandes has the penalties for United. Yeah, exactly. And guys, don't be fooled. This is why Bruno Fernandes' stats look a lot better, because the guys, you know, and this is one for people as well that might not be aware of this, you know. When people tell you that Bruno Fernandes is the best chance creator in Europe, it's a complete lie. Because if he's the best chance creator in Europe, why does Man United striker, as bad as Højlund is, has 3 or 4 league goals? That's the first thing, you know. And also, Bruno Fernandes takes every corner, every free kick, every penalty. So is there a surprise why this guy gets numbers? Because, again, with the chances created, if Bruno Fernandes puts a ball into the box, no matter how good, no matter how poor the ball is, if a Man United player gets the head to the ball, that's counted as a chance created in this era of football. So when people tell you that he's the best chance creator, he's got mad numbers, you know, these people don't want to break it down, because, again, it's become with Bruno Fernandes, you know, let's just talk up his numbers and disregard his performances, because people are just trying to ignore the obvious, you know. But his numbers, as I said, only look good because he's tasked with doing everything. You know, he's on every corner, free kick, penalties, as I said. But for someone that's watched Man United the whole season, his whole season's been pretty average, you know. But you'll have people telling you he's been United's saviour. And if he's been United's saviour and he's their best player, Man United's best player, is there any surprise why Man United are so poor? Because if you've got a Bruno Fernandes as your best player, then it tells you everything, you know. So people need to be aware of these things. So Rashford to go shut it down at Barca. Yeah, big up TJ, bro. Big up, man. I think he'll do well in Spain, because, as we know, Spain's not a physically demanding league, you know. And someone like Rashford, it's the same reason why Jude Bellingham, in terms of his physicality, will do well over there. But when it comes to against the best teams in terms of keeping the ball, he'll struggle. But if any player coming from England with their physicality goes to Spain, they should do well, because Spain's not a league where it's blessed with, you know, physical demons with pace. So Rashford should do well over there. But again, how's Rashford going to get a game? Because you've got Yamal, Rafinha, and he's not going to play through the middle ahead of Lewandowski. So, yeah. So Mr. Lord says, how was Ronaldo not off? Someone explain. Yeah, listen, at first, the goal, I thought he was off. But if you actually check it again, he was actually behind the ball. So the way Nuno Mendes played the ball, if Ronaldo was ahead of the ball, obviously it's going to be an offside. But he was behind the ball, and it clearly showed that he was behind the ball. So, yeah, it was right to have stood. So Haaland still scores this season. I'm not sure what that means, but so Mr. Laws says, if Yamal scores tomorrow against France, can he win the Ballon d'Or? Big up Mr. Lord, but that's not how it works. I mean, just because he scores, that doesn't mean he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. At the end of the day, if Yamal wins the Nations League with Spain, you would expect him to be the favourite. I would say, you know. But yeah, it's not about if he scores a goal, like, because anyone can score a goal. I reckon he has to win the Nations League for him to take over from Dembele. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. Yeah, big up TJ, bro. Big up, man. As I said, I'm live. I'm live like every day, man. So if you haven't subscribed, man, make sure you do. As I say, Gav goes in, and make sure your notifications on as well, bro. You know, as I said, it's not just about Man United. It's about all football, guys. You know, as I said, my extensive education in football's there. You know, so obviously I do a next gen 50 as well. You know, the best 50 young players in the world, and I've been doing streams on them as well. So yeah, if obviously if it's your favorite team, you know, yeah, be sure to put that in the chat, man. It isn't just Man United news; it's football from all other teams. I just love talking about football in general, and obviously we're doing Nations League today, and obviously I'll be back tomorrow as well. So guys, come on, make sure you smash the like if you've enjoyed the content. Got 14 likes on it at the moment. Obviously gonna wrap up now anyway. So we've been going for about an hour and a half. But guys, listen up. Big up everyone for coming on. As I said, you know, obviously some good questions in the chat. You know, again, it's good to understand, you know, certain things. You know, and again, I'm up for answering any questions. You know, 'cause again, it's good to have debates. You know, because you know a lot of people have different opinions, which is fine. But it's about respecting each other's opinion and you know, debating it out, man. That's what it's about. So if you've enjoyed the content, as I said, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. So guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow. If there's any news that's breaking, football-wise, you know, transfers, then I might go live. So make sure you've got your notifications on to see when I go live. I will schedule it as always. But if not, then I'll be back tomorrow, you know, same time. Obviously, after the France and Spain game, which is due to be a great game. And again, guys, if the game does go to extra time, then obviously just be aware that the stream will be will be slightly later. Obviously, if it does go extra time and penalties. But yeah, I'll be back same time, man. So last question before I bounce. So what do you really think about the Blues Chelsea next year? Yeah, listen, Chelsea for me, you know, I think they're going to do a Mazza next season, if I'm honest. You know, they've got the lap, obviously, over the line. You'd expect them to go and get another striker. I'm looking at Chelsea next season, and for me, if they can sign another striker and a left winger, and possibly, I mean, if they get Mike Maignan in, they get another defender, you know, they get a left winger and a striker. So we're looking at what? Four players, I would say. If they get 4 players in key positions, I put them with Man City and Liverpool as title favourites, because City, for me at the moment, they've just signed Reinders, you know. They've got an agreement in place for Turkey. They're looking at Ryan Aït-Nouri as well, and possibly Livramento. And if they get all 4 of them players, I don't think they'll get Livramento, but if they get all 4 of them, if they get them 3 players, they're favourites for me, even if Wirtz does go Liverpool and with Kirkes and Frimpong. But I think with Chelsea, you know, they're going to be a threat, man, because I think with what they've got already, you know, Moises Caicedo, if Lavia can stay fit, you know, Reece James for me is the best right back in the game if he stays fit. You know, Cole Palmer, you know, is one of the best players in the league in Europe for me as well. You know, if they keep Palmer, Reece James, Lavia, Caicedo fit, and they add to that team, they're going to take some stopping, you know. And as I said, I think the transfer window for Chelsea is what's going to tell me what they're on. You know, they've got Liam Delap over the line. They've got Dario Asugo coming in as well, who's a very good midfielder. William Estaval coming in as well, and, you know, he's tipped to rival Lamine Yamal. You know, they got Giovanni Quenda coming in 2026 as well. They're going to be a problem, Chelsea, man, because what I like about Chelsea is their intent. You know, I think at first people looked at them as spending money just for the sake of it. But for me, yeah, man, they just get the job done, man, when it comes to transfers. And I reckon they've got another 3 or 4 transfers in them, easy, you know. And obviously they've Jadon Sancho for me. I'm glad he's came back to United, but they've not agreed to deal with him. You'd think they'll sell Madueke to get better quality in, or even Neto. He's been poor, you know. So yeah, they're gonna be there, man. And I expect them to as I said, to spend some more money as well. But yeah, they're gonna be a problem in the short. Prediction for Marab versus Sugar Sean. Oh, is that Marab? Is that UFC? Sean. What's his name? I forgot his name. What's his name? The guy that wears multicolour hair, man. Chat, help me out, man. What's his name in UFC? I think it's Marab Derevishvili or something like that. And Sean. I forgot his name. It's gonna bug me now. What's his name? Chat, help me out, man. What's his name? TJ, help me out. His name, Sean. Oh, his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, big up to Satar as well. That's the one, Sean O'Malley. Big up, Sham, boy. Yeah, Sham, big up, man. That was bugging me. Sean O'Malley, yeah. To be honest with you, I haven't watched UFC as much, you know, lately. I mean, I'm more watching UFC back in the day, man, when it was like the Anderson Silvers and Rampage Jacksons and all them guys there, you know. Obviously John Jones is my favorite right now, you know. So I haven't really seen too much of Merab, but Sean O'Malley, to be honest with you, man, his striking is very good. So I mean, I can't really give a prediction because I haven't really watched Merab Derishvili, and I haven't really watched too much of Sean O'Malley anyway. I've seen a bit of him, but just based on Sean O'Malley's striking, you know, I might edge to him, but I'm guessing that Merab is a submission expert, man, because I'm pretty. Isn't he from the same stable as the likes of Khabib Nurmagomedov? I'm pretty sure he's from that neck of the woods, man. So, but yeah, I'll probably say Sugar Sean, man. But that's just a guess. I would say, yeah. Big up Ahmed from Egypt. Big up, bro, for coming on. Big up to Youssef Turkman as well. You think I'm Besiktas team? Yeah, multicolored hair guy. Yeah, listen, I couldn't get his name out, man. O'Malley, that's the one. Yeah, yeah. Big up, man. So Satar says, what time is it there? So it's 11:45 in the evening. So I woke up at 3 because I am fasting. Okay, guys, what I'm gonna do then? I'm gonna stay on for another. I'll stay on, obviously, for the newcomers. I'll stay on for another 10 minutes. But make sure you give me some questions, guys. Football related. Even if you like wrestling, guys. If you like wrestling, let me know, man. Massive wrestling fan. AEW, WWE, WCW, ECW. So yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, then drop your comments in the chat, man. I'll stay on for another 10 minutes for the newcomers. But guys, if you're just coming through, make sure you smash that like button. Obviously, help the channel to grow, as I'm giving you 10 more minutes, you know, free content. So smash that like button and subscribe to my channel at GavGoesIn as well. Big up yourselves. So Arid Temo says, yo, who is your favourite club? So my favourite club is, unfortunately at the moment, Man United, and also like Barcelona as well. You know, I've liked Barcelona for years, man. Some of the quality they've had in that team, you know, the Brazilians, you know, the South American players, man. Yeah, you can't help but not like them. Remember Rivaldo, you know, Javier Saviola, obviously Patrick Kluivert Dutch, you know. They've had some top players, man, you know. Obviously Messi, Neymar, Ronaldinho, one of my goats. Luis Suarez, you know, Alexis Sanchez. I mean, that club just has too much quality, man. Too much quality. And obviously now, you know, they're probably going down a bit of a different route. But yeah, one of my favourite clubs, Barca. So TJ says, who you see winning Champions League next year? I think most people will say PSG, you know. I'm gonna say PSG will be up there because that what PSG done to Inter Milan in that final, um, what was frightening really, and it just shows you how good they are. And if you look at PSG's team as well, all their players, their whole lineup, apart from Marquinhos, are all like in their mid 20s, early 20s. So they're gonna be there for the foreseeable, and they're trying to add younger talent like Franco Mastantuano. You know, you got them. You got the likes of Doué and Barcola, who will get better as well. Um, but I'm gonna say if Man City get, as I say, they've got Reinders. If they get eight Nuri, Ryan Cherky, you know, and probably another player, I have to make them favourites along with PSG because I think they will come back. You know, I think Pep's on a mission. And let's not forget as well, you know, he bought Marmoush in January, who's going to get even better. The youngsters like Kusanov and Vitor Reich as well. So I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to say Man City. I think we can never really count out Real Madrid, but obviously Xabi Alonso there now. I want to see what Real Madrid do. I know they've brought in Dean Howson, you know, Trent on a free, and who's the other one? And Alvaro Fernandez, ex-Man United as well. So, you know, and their heritage as well in Champions League, you know, has to be respected. So Barcelona as well. I think Barca will be there, you know. But yeah, I'll say Man City, Barca, Real Madrid have to be there because of the heritage. PSG, you know. Maybe Liverpool, I'm not sure. But them for sure. I'm not sure about Chelsea because you know, I think Chelsea might concentrate on the league probably, but yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? But one thing's for certain, it's gonna be interesting, and I can't. I think PSG, as I said, they look strong, but I can't really say who I think is the favourites. I think there's quite a few teams that will have a say, man. But big up TJ, man. Big up, bro. So Satar says, yesterday was my first day in high school and I have to go again in a few hours. Give me football tips because I played really well, but there are people better than me and I hate losing. You want to tip at football, man? No worries. What I would say to you, Satar, yeah, is first and foremost, you know, and this is what I say to any player, and obviously I'm saying this from experience. What I would say is that if football is your passion and it's what you love doing, you have to dedicate yourself to being a footballer, you know, in terms of training properly, you know, eating properly, getting, you know, proper sleep as well. You have to live like a professional, you know, because this is what these guys do. You know, they eat, sleep, drink football, you know, as they say. So I would say to you that there's no secret to success in football. You know, you have to work for it, just like with anything. So first thing is having confidence, having the belief that you're good, you know. Confidence is a massive thing in football, you know. And if you've got the self-belief that you think that you're good, you know, then you have to kind of just believe in that and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. But what I would say to you is that you have to put the work in, you know. As I said, you know, a lot of people in this generation now, youngsters coming through, you know, a lot of them are too busy on the computer games, you know. Put the computer games to the side and work on your craft, man. There's no secret to success at the end of the day. You know, you have to put the hours of practice in, you know, coming home from school, you know, practicing, as I say, getting the right amount of sleep, you know, eating properly as well. And I promise you, if you put that work into it, there's no reason why you won't be a footballer, you know, because as I said, man, there's no secret to success, man, to hard work. You have to put the hours in, just like with anything. And if you do that, then, you know, you will go a long way, man. But if you think that you're going to just, you know, just turn up to football and just do it casually, you know, and not put the work in, you know, you got to think about the amount of people that are trying to be footballers. So what are you going to do that's different? That's what you got to ask yourself, you know. So if there's players that are better than you, that's even more the reason to put more work into it to become better than them, you know. So there's no secret to it really, man. Just put the work in, eat properly, you know, and get the right amount of sleep, you know, and just be invested and have the confidence, man. That's what I would tell you. What do you think about the UCL final? I think it was a boring match because you were only seeing PSG goals. Listen, it weren't boring for me. And the funny thing is, I actually missed the first half. So when I got back home, I turned the TV on because my prediction was 2-1 PSG. When I see 3-0, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then you watch PSG play and you're thinking, yeah, PSG just got too much for them, you know, and Inter are an aging team as well. You know, and obviously Simone Inzaghi now has gone to Al Hilal, getting 30 million a season. But PSG, man, they were another level. You know, when you've got that midfield of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, João Neves, the balance there, you know, and you've got that fluid front three of Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and obviously Doué got 2 goals, and then Barcola come on. The 2 best fullbacks in the game right now as a pairing, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, you know, Donnarumma in goal, and that centre-back pairing. They were always going to win, man. It's a very, very strong team. So it wasn't boring for me, man, because they just showed levels in that final, and it was good, man, because they're the team they're the team to beat now, you know. So other teams now are gonna have to come on strong, man, and it's gonna be good viewing. So there is no much scope in football in India. Listen, but the thing is, there's scouts all over the place, man. So as I said, man, these scouts will they'll see you, man, if you're putting the work in, if you're turning up to football, you know, and you're showing some potential. There's people all over the place, you know. So what I would say, man, is just keep the belief, you know, keep the belief first and foremost, and just put the work in, you know, and it will happen for you, no doubt. Yeah, but Satar, don't worry about no one motivating you. You got to motivate yourself. End of the day, are you doing it for other people or for yourself? So if no one's motivating you, you know, you shouldn't really need that. You know, obviously when I was playing, um, football's my passion. You know what I mean? So I didn't need no one to motivate me. You know, because I was getting up every morning. You know, training, practicing. You know, I was putting the work in. You know, obviously I didn't get to professional level. You know, I played academy level, but there was more that I could have done. You know, but obviously there was certain circumstances that weren't in my favor. But just from experience, as I said, man, if you put the work in, man, and you've got the belief, then you'll go far. That's what it is, man. So guys, let's try and hit 20 likes. If you're enjoying the content, there's 24 of you in there. Only 16 likes. Just smash that like button. You know, if it's your first time in there as well, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Obviously, smashing that like button, guys, will help the channel to grow. I keep saying it every time. So it's just one press of the button. If you're enjoying the content, big up yourselves. So I have a proper eating, study, sleeping routine. That's good, man. Keep to it. Keep to it, man. And as I say, put the likes in. So in India, it's definitely harder to become pro than being in England. Yeah, it probably is. It probably is, man. Obviously, their first sport is obviously cricket, you know. But as I said, man, if you've got belief, you know, maybe it might take you, you know, going to a different country to kind of realize your dream. You know, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. You know, I'm not sure how old you are, Satar, but, you know, if a footballer is what you want to become, you know, you got to make sacrifices in life. So if you think that India is not really a country where they thrive on football, maybe that's something to think about in the future. You know, if you want to go to a different country and try and play. I mean, look at Ronaldo for example. Ronaldo left. Obviously, he's from Funchal, but he left obviously his area where he's from to go and pursue his football dream. And look at where he is today. You know what I mean? So it can happen. Guys, come on, only 15 likes. Come on, let's at least hit 20 likes. If you're in there, it's free content. Smash that like button, guys. Come on. Only 15 likes in there at the moment. There's 22 of you in there. Yeah, listen, Sato, man. Like, at the end of the day, man, it's free advice, man. You know, but it's just it's honest advice, man. And as I said, if you really wanna Gav Goes is going to be trending in India. Yeah, make sure it is, man. Make sure it is trending. But yeah, as I said, man, if you really want to become a footballer, and that goes for anything, you got to put the work in, man. You know, no one else is going to do it for you, so you've got to do it. So, and that goes with anything. Even myself, you know, my channel, you know, I've got to put the work in, which is what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's how it is. So you're gonna be 16 in 4 days, man. Well, happy early birthday, man. And let the present be, you know, the advice that I've given you, as I said, man. But yeah, big up yourself, man. Anyway. But guys, listen up. I won't waste so much more of your time. You know, big up everyone for coming through. You know, as I said, been going for, you know, I think what, nearly 2 hours now. So as I said, guys, I'm gonna be back tomorrow. You know, at, after the game, Spain and France. Hopefully, it's a better game than it was today, if I'm honest. But I'm pretty sure it will be an exciting game. You know, there's a lot of quality on show. So yeah, make sure, guys, you join me tomorrow at the same time. As I said, if the game does go into extra time penalties, just have a look at the notifications to see if I might schedule it a bit later. But I will definitely be back. And again, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to my channel. And if there's any news, transfer news dropping tomorrow, I will be live. As I said, I'll schedule it. And yeah, make sure you guys give me your comments as always. But yeah, guys, big up yourselves for coming through. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.